What's good, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Hurls and Smallz Show. As always, I'm joined with my guy, my co-host, Smallz. Man, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Life is great. We're both here. We're both together.
Mm-hmm.
What more can we ask for? How about yourself?
I've been better. I can't lie. Coming off of a rough week of football, but other than football, it was a long day at work today. I'm feeling a little under the weather. You know, you just got done being sick, and hopefully I'm not getting sick. But I've been dealing with a little sore throat the past couple of days. My body was, kind of aching a little bit today. My back, especially my back was really hurting. But I'm doing all right.
That's just because you're old, though.
I am old. What am I? 23? Aren't you 22?
Damn.
Shut the fuck up, man. But as always, man, we're back. We're back at you guys with another review. Before we even get too deep into the video or into the pod, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Go show love on the TikTok. Smallz over there doing his thing. And yeah, we can jump straight into the people's favorite segment. The people love this segment. So just a little backstory before I get into the overreactions. So I went to my notes. I usually write it down in my notes app, the overreactions. I went to click in there. Obviously, the Niners lost this week. I went into the notes app to put as the overreaction, the Niners season is over. I looked just last week. My last week overreaction was the Niners are back. And it just hit me like, damn. From 1 week.
Bro, like 2 weeks ago, you had the Niners are over.
Did I?
Yeah, it did decent numbers on TikTok.
And now I have their back. And that last week I had their back. And now again, the Niners season is over. The Niners season is over, man. It's done. We're not making the playoffs. The Cardinals are winning the division, and we're not going to get into we're not going to make the wild card because the wild card in the NFC is too good. You got the Vikings at 7-2. You got the Commanders at 7-4. And then who's the other wild card team? The Packers, yeah, who have 7 wins right now, I'm pretty sure. So yeah. Looks like the only path for the Niners to get into the playoffs is winning the division. And the Cardinals are already a game up on us. They already beat us. Every team in the division has beat us. And the Cardinals have a cakewalk of a schedule while the Niners still have to play the Packers, the Bears, who could be tough on any given Sunday, the Lions, the Bills, who just gave the Chiefs their first loss of the season, the Cardinals again. So the Niners season is over, man.
The Niners are a talented football team, so I can't say that they're completely over. Yeah, they've had several, and I mean a lot, of disappointing losses this week or the season. But as much as I love Kyler Murray and as much as I love Marvin Harrison, the Cardinals aren't untouchable. Yeah, they have a cakewalk of a season, but that defense is not a fortress. So if the Cardinals ended up sliding, the Niners end up picking it up. They are last in the division right now, so it would be tough. But I can't completely chalk them yet. I will say y'all still have some life.
I think they have our percentages that make them playoffs now, like 31% or something like that. And I don't know, man. It's just rough. It really is just rough. Every week you think we're turning it around, we think we're building something, and now
I ain't thought that every week.
To all of my Niners faithful out there, every week it seems like, after we win, it feels like, okay, maybe this is the turning point. Maybe this is where we get back right. Because that's what it's been in the past, in the past couple seasons. We start off rough, but there's the win that just galvanizes the troops, and we turn it around. And I thought that would be the Cowboys win, but apparently it wasn't. And here we are, 5-5, and
the Cowboys, they're one of
the not because of who we beat, but just because of how we won and how it looked on
morale
tape
and stuff.
Yeah, morale. And now it's just like we dealt with so many injuries, and coming into the season, it felt like it was rough because, all the Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams shit. But I won't make it too long of a segment for the Niners, man. I'm disappointed. As I said, I made a tweet after the game. The Niners can't keep doing this to me every week. I am now part of I'm a member of the Los Angeles Chargers. Bolt up, baby. And I will be entering free agency this off season, and testing the waters. So San Fran, you better send me a beautiful fucking money or else I'm gone, man. You got tears coming down my fucking face because I put my fucking heart and soul into this franchise, Smallz, and they disappoint me week in and week out. So now I'm riding with Justin Herbert and my former coach and Jim Harbaugh. It's bolt up season, baby. Fuck you, Kyle Shanahan. I hope you get fired tomorrow morning. John Lynch, do something with this fucking roster. You put together these good fucking rosters. Find a good fucking head coach that can do something with it. That's not gonna blow leads every fourth quarter. That's not gonna lose to inferior teams every week. That's not gonna lose in the Super Bowl to the same damn team. Do something, man. Fuck. Moving on, man. Moving on.
Hey,
Yes.
you can come to Minnesota whenever you want, man. We're very welcoming over here. We got a cool little chant. We got a sick mascot. We got the best receiver in football. We got a good head coach. We'll welcome you with open arms, and you don't even have to switch conferences. You're going to the AFC now. You can stay in the NFC, brother.
I'm a Charger, man. I'm a Charger. I've said it all season. They're my second team. I'm a Charger, man. Maybe in the offseason when I'm a free agent, maybe I'll sign somewhere else. But for now, moving on to our next overreaction. The Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs took their first loss of the season to the Bills. Now they have one loss to the name. There are a couple teams with 2 losses in the AFC. The Kansas City Chiefs will not finish as the 1 seed in the AFC.
So it's the Bills or the Steelers.
Because they probably won't lose 4 games. The Ravens probably aren't going to catch them, so it's really between those 3 teams.
They're not. Yeah, the Ravens aren't going to catch back up. I can't say that the Bills are looking unstoppable. The Chiefs play the Raiders, the Panthers, the Chargers, the Browns, Texans. They play the Steelers, so they could be on Christmas Day.
Yep.
I don't know. I would say sure. I mean, once we get to the bread and butter of this segment or of this episode, we have a little segment and we'll talk about it more there. But give me the Bills. I'll take the Bills to finish as number 1.
Okay. I like it.
AFC this season.
Yeah, because if the Bills would have lost this game, I mentioned it a few times earlier, the Bills would literally have nothing to play for. So I'm kind of glad that they won this game, because otherwise they would have been able to rest their starters 3 weeks before the playoffs, and it probably would have hurt them in the long run. So I'm glad they won this game so they could actually compete for something, that being the 1 seed. But moving on. There's a rookie quarterback, man, that is playing his ass off right now. Oh, look. What? That is playing his motherfucking ass off right now. He is playing his ass off. In his last like 6 or 7 games, he's been phenomenal. Had a shaky start to the season, but he's been very good as of late. Has his team over 500. Nearly were the first team to beat the undefeated before the Bills did it this past weekend. Bo Nix is winning Rookie of the Year.
Oh, stop. I mean, he's hooping. I can't take that away from him. He's been so much better than what I anticipated. But he's not Jaden Daniels. If it was mostly any other season, he would have more of a case. But Jaden Daniels completely changed the culture of a team in 1 season. The Commanders have been poverty for years. And I mean, the Broncos haven't been great the last couple, but they're going from mediocre to solid. The Commanders are going from complete trash to above average.
304 TDs, 85% completion percentage. He's balling, man. He's balling. So, but you're
he hooped against one of the best defenses in the league this week as well. I don't think the Falcons get not the best in the league. That's an over exaggeration, but the Falcons are a very, very solid defense. And he made it look like they weren't. Yeah,
in his last, what is this? 8 games. He's 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's playing his ass off, man. He's playing very well. Even I didn't expect him to play this well, especially what I saw from him early on in the season. I do think myself this is an overreaction, but I just wanted to show Bo some love because, man, he's playing very well.
And as a super fan of Bo Nixon myself, I mean, it's hard to say no to this because I love him so much, but I just can't agree with this at the moment because Jaden Daniels is so good.
Moving on, man. The Miami Dolphins got their... Whoa! Why do I look so orange?
Oh, what just changed?
Bro. Okay, there we go. The Miami Dolphins got their quarterback back. Their offense has been looking better ever since he's gotten back. The bottom of the AFC is catchable. So the Miami Dolphins will make the playoffs.
Yep.
They will.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They're throwback to your last bowl prediction. They're taking their spot.
Okay. So they're gonna catch the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the only team they can catch right now because it looks like the Chargers aren't going to be falling off anytime soon. How they're playing, so it really is.
And
It
the
looks like
Ravens
only
aren't
the
either.
It looks like only the 7th spot is up for grabs. So I definitely could see them catching up to the Broncos. I honestly don't think this was much of an overreaction either. The Broncos still have the Raiders, the Browns, the Colts, the Chargers, the Bengals, the Chiefs. Those last 3 games are pretty tough, and depending on what Anthony Richardson you get, those last 4 games could be tough. But yeah, if I had to bet on it, I probably would say the Dolphins catch the Broncos in the end. To be honest, but
Dolphins have a pretty easy schedule too.
I'll be rooting for the Broncos to get it done. And my
The
last
Dolphins
one,
just don't deserve it this year, man.
they don't. They really don't.
And I'm not even trying to hate. They just
Yeah,
the Broncos deserve it way more.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying the Broncos are better, but
yeah, absolutely. My last one, we had a quarterback who was benched, unbenched, unbenched, come back into the lineup and look very good this weekend. The Houston Texans, they look pretty solid this Monday or on Monday Night Football, but
they're not catching Houston.
The Colts are winning the AFC South.
Why'd you finish? I told you to stop.
So you're not even giving this one any time.
I'm not even entertaining you. The Texans have a simple schedule to finish the season. The Texans have C.J. Stroud. The Colts don't have C.J. Stroud.
C.J. Stroud has looked so-and-so this season. He hasn't looked phenomenal. Not as good
C.J.
as
Stroud is still C.J. Stroud. They're winning the division.
But can I just read you out some games that the Colts have?
Go ahead. I think
the Patriots
the Colts still have a chance.
The Patriots, the Broncos is a winnable game. The Titans, the Giants, and the Jags. Patriots, Broncos, Titans, Giants, Jags could be five straight wins for them.
This is who I'm rooting for the 7th seed. It's between the Broncos and the Dolphins pretty much, but the Colts are ahead of the Dolphins. I don't know why I just said what I just said, but I'm rooting for the Colts to get the 7th seed. I love Anthony Richardson, and I don't blame Shane Steichen for benching him. I believe that was an owner decision or a GM decision, whatever you want to say. But the Colts almost made it last year, and they just narrowly got eked out by the Texans. All they got to do is beat the Broncos this year, and they're right there. So,
all right.
give me AR.
Yeah, they got one tough game in the Lions, and after that, it's that 5-game stretch I mentioned. But all right, that's all I got for this week's overreactions. Hopefully next week I can
the recap.
Hopefully next week I can come back and say the Niners are back again. But we'll see. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
We can get into the recap of the bowl predictions from Thursday. They weren't the greatest this week. My first one was Jameis against his former team, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a win. The win was the big thing. Jameis absolutely balled. He had 395 yards with 2 touchdowns and no picks. But the Browns are just absolutely horrific. So they didn't pull off the win. And then all of this, we'll get to that game. The next one is that the Jets are weak against the run. So AR would have at least 60 rushing yards, and Jonathan Taylor would finish at least 150 total. Jonathan Taylor was horrific. We both have him in fantasy, so we know that. I've used horrific like 4 times in this one sentence alone. AR had 32 rushing yards, so that one was just a miss in totality. The Jets' rushing defense was solid, but they suck. Third one was Sam Darnold comes out with 300 yards and reproves himself. He had 246 on 20 for 32 and 2 touchdowns. He played very solid. Didn't quite get to 300, but the Titans are just bad. And then I said we'd have 2 OT games, and I don't believe we had any.
No.
Niners were close.
Don't want to talk about it.
Ravens were close.
Packers Bears came down to a block field goal. Colts Jets came down to a field goal.
Those wouldn't have been overtime.
Some close games, yeah, but they wouldn't have been overtime,
yeah. That's all I got, though. We can get into the buy or sell segment if you would like.
So yeah, as you guys can see by the title, the bulk of today's episode is going to be buy or sell. We did something similar earlier in the season, but that was just buy or sell. What should teams buy or sell at the deadline? Now we're going to be ourselves buying or selling into teams, different scenarios going forward into the season. So Smallz has a few that he's going to name off, and we'll let you know if we're buying or selling.
Starting off, we've kind of talked about some of these now with the overreactions.
Yeah.
Everything works its way in.
Mm-hmm.
Teams, there's only so much you want to talk about at this point. The bad teams you don't want to talk about, and the good teams you don't need to talk about.
Exactly.
If the Steelers can become the first seed in the AFC, which you talked about, they can make it past the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And only have to play one of the Bills, Ravens, and Chiefs in the playoffs, they make the Super Bowl.
We mentioned this one a little earlier before we started. I'm buying into this one. I was having a conversation on stream with Plug, and I told him in a one game scenario, I would take the Steelers could beat anybody. Legitimately anybody out in the AFC, they could beat anybody. If it's just any given Sunday, the Steelers could beat anybody. So if you're telling me they only have to play one of the Bills, the Ravens, or the Chiefs, I would definitely take that. If they get the first seed in the AFC and only have to play one of them, you're playing in Pittsburgh. Your road to the Super Bowl is through Pittsburgh. You don't have to go to Arrowhead. You don't have to go to Buffalo or to Baltimore. You stay in Pittsburgh, and you only got to play one of those teams. I would definitely buy into them making the Super Bowl.
The only chance this really happens is if the Texans were able to beat the Ravens. And I don't know if I'm betting on that.
Yeah.
But like you said, playing in Pittsburgh is way better than anything else.
Absolutely. And what travels in that time of the season is a defense and a run game. And I think the Steelers can do both. They'll defend their asses off. You saw what they did against probably the MVP of the season this past Sunday. And Najee Harris, for as much as I get on him, he can look very, very solid at times. So I would definitely take the Steelers to. I would buy in on the Steelers Super Bowl run if they have to play one.
And that week one playoff week one bye would be
absolutely
big.
Absolutely.
You're not getting banged up. Next one. I would also I don't think I would buy this one.
Okay.
I think even if they match up with the Chiefs in any scenario, I don't think they have the star power.
The Chiefs would be the one where I think I would, because it's just Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. I just struggle to pick against them. But I honestly think if they played the Ravens in the playoffs, they would get the better of the Ravens again. I think they're 9-1 in the last
Mike
time.
Tomlin doesn't lose to Baltimore, man.
He doesn't. They're 9-1 the last 10 times playing the Ravens. So I think I would definitely take the Ravens. Or take the Steelers over the Ravens if they played in the playoffs. And I think I would take them over Buffalo. But KC's the one that I think would be a toss-up.
Pat Mahomes gets all the love in the world, rightfully so. He's one of the greatest ever. The reason I would take the Chiefs over the Steelers is I believe they might be the only team in football with a better head coach.
Fair.
Next one. The final spot between the Broncos, Colts, and Dolphins. As we were saying, I am buying that the Indianapolis Colts get it. However, what I'm selling to you is that the Miami Dolphins get it.
I'm buying that as well. We talked about it earlier, like you said in the overreaction. I think the Dolphins are going to catch the Broncos. I think the Broncos are just they're led by a young rookie quarterback, obviously. So I think they may just flame out. They just haven't been there before. So I think Tua the offense has looked good ever since Tua has came back. They just haven't been able to pull out these games. They lost some close ones, like they lost to one to the Cardinals. I think they lost by a field goal to the Bills or something like that. So I think with Tua back, the offense has looked great. They won this past weekend. I think they get back to what they've been, and I think the Dolphins get that last spot in the playoffs.
Fair enough. Next one. There was, I don't know if you saw any of it, but specifically on Twitter, there was a good amount of talk about stat padding in the NFL. Empty stats, all this stuff.
I hate empty stats.
There have been talks about the Lions running up scores. And my question is,
I did see that.
Would you do so? And do you believe in their offense?
Absolutely, I believe in their offense. Yes.
Buying their offense no matter
against
the
any
defense?
team. Against any team, I would take the Lions offense. Against any team. And you asked me, would I do so? Would I be running up the score? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Not play because I'm whooping your ass? Like, if you don't want me to score, stop me. Stop me from scoring if you don't want me to score.
Beautiful. That's exactly what Carlton Davis said.
And it's not like it was oh, 7-yard pass, 7-yard pass, 7-yard pass. If Jameson Williams is running for 60 yards, do you want him to stop 40 yards and just run out of bounds and just say, no, we're good? And yeah, does the Marshawn Lynch into the end zone. If Jahmyr Gibbs is breaking off a 40-yard run, is he supposed to say, actually, no, I'm going to stop after 10 yards because we're already up by 30?
7 drives for 7 touchdowns.
Like, what do you want them to do? What do you want them to do? Just not score? Just take a knee? Just run the ball? Because even if them running the ball, the lanes are wide open and they have 2 stud running backs who could take it to the crib on any play. They're just supposed to have the lane and go down in the middle of the third quarter because they're already up 30? Absolutely not. If you can put up 100 points on a team, go for it. If the team can't stop you, put up your points.
We talked about it a couple weeks ago. You said you didn't like the Sonic and Knuckles nicknames, but I do. So I like that they're incorporating more of the Sonic universe into Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra. And I just, you don't see that very often where like you have team oriented nicknames. It's usually just like you got Jettis or you got one guy. So I think that's cool. Next one. Buy or sell.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the current, but the recent future. Is that what you would say? Like the near future of the Atlanta Falcons.
You said buy or sell the near future of the Atlanta Falcons.
The current and the near future. So like the next couple of years, Kirk Cousins, if he sticks around, if he's gone, if they rebuild, if they keep going. Start with the current season.
The current season, I'm selling. I talked about it earlier. Before we started, I think I'm selling the Falcons. They're lucky they play in the NFC South. They don't really have to worry about any of the teams as of right now. But if Tampa Bay can get Mike Evans back and Baker has looked good even without his weapons, they may be able to catch Atlanta with the way Atlanta has been playing recently.
I would love them to catch Atlanta.
I would as well because Atlanta has not been playing well as of late. Terrible loss to the Broncos this past weekend. That probably an even worse loss, even though you only lost by 3 to the Saints the week prior. But at least this week it was to a solid team. The week before you lost to the Saints. So I'm definitely selling the Falcons. I think even if they get into the playoffs, they're going to be one and done. I don't think there's anybody they're upsetting in the NFC. So for this season, I'm selling them. For the future, I really don't. I don't think I would buy or sell if that's an option. I really think they're just always gonna. For now, they're just gonna be the whatever team, the good team that can be anywhere from 8 wins to 11 wins on any given season. I think they'll just be in that purgatory.
As a Falcon fan?
Exactly, but I think that's what they're gonna be, unless I don't want this, but unless they move to Michael Penix and then you just you say what, we're just gonna develop our young guy. We're gonna be a developing team. But as long as Kirk Cousins is your starter, you're always gonna be a somewhat respectable team. So I think for the next couple of years, as long as it's Kirk Cousins, it's gonna be anywhere from 8 to 11 wins.
I think even if they go to Penix, their team is just old. Like
it's an old team, exactly. Yeah. It is.
It's a weird position for Atlanta to be in. They're not good enough to be like, playoffs guaranteed, but they're not bad enough to just completely sell. And
you go and get a first-time head coach like Raheem Morris, it definitely seems like a place where it would be, okay, we're going to rebuild and, we're going to just sell our guys and, get assets and, build around Michael Penix. But you brought in Kirk Cousins, which I'm not saying it was a bad move, but it definitely looked like staff-wise, it looks like a team that would be rebuilding, but this is a team that's going to be solid for the next couple of years.
Next one. Might be a quick one. It could just be a quick sell. Buy or sell Will Levis being the future of Tennessee.
Sell. And this is not to say Will Levis can't be good anywhere else. He can't be, a quality backup one
solid
day.
Game this week.
Hell, he can't. That does not even say he can't be a starter somewhere or compete somewhere. But I think if you're the Titans, you probably just have to look in a new direction. You've seen what you've seen from Will Levis. It hasn't been great. Yeah, he had a decent game this past weekend, but it hasn't been great. And I'm not saying you move on from him, but I just don't think he's the future of the Titans. If you want to come into next season with him, sure, but I just don't think he's their future. If you want to see him for another year, see what you got before you go and draft a guy or sign a guy in free agency, that's fine. But I don't think he's their future now. But maybe in a better situation he could be someone else's future. Because
I think you worded it
sorry to
beautifully.
cut you off again, but when Will Levis first came in, I thought he was pretty solid, and I thought he could be their guy. But as of what I've seen from late, I just don't know.
But he's kind of always had to like battle for his spot. He never knew if he was the locked-in starter. They
Yeah.
had Malik there when he first got there,
Mhm.
and Malik was supposed to be their guy.
Mhm.
And then they bring in Mason Rudolph this year, and it's like, ooh, there's a little quarterback duel.
Mhm.
It's a weird spot for him to be in, and I think you worded it beautifully because this quarterback class this year isn't like jumping off the charts.
Yeah, exactly.
So they wanted to just build elsewhere because their team isn't super young either. They're a rebuilding team, but they barely started their rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say just build around Will Levis right now, and then when next year's quarterback class comes and it's great, jump then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you got people like Daniel Jones getting so many chances with his one team. I don't think there's any reason for you to just say we're done with Will Levis and just move on, unless you're getting some superstar level talent. But yeah,
my last two are kind of you might just want to make them quick. You don't need to talk about them, but they might be fun little talking points.
Mm-hmm.
Buy or sell the concept and the idea of a full rebuild. Like if you're a team, do you sell everything or do you go the Falcons route like we just said and you stand in purgatory for a while?
I sell. I'm definitely a believer in a full sale of a team, especially in the NFL. And in other sports, is like the NBA, it's kind of different. But in the NFL, you can just find talent because every draft pick for you will probably play in the NFL. Every single one of your draft picks will make the roster, will probably play. Whereas in the NBA, second round is probably not playing for you. A late first probably won't scratch the rotation for you. But a second round pick in the NFL is probably a day one starter. A third round pick on your team is probably a key piece to your team coming into the season. So I definitely do believe in rebuilding for certain teams, like teams that are like have been stuck in purgatory. Like I think eventually coming soon, the Giants will do it, but I think the Cowboys should be looking to do that soon, to be honest. But they definitely won't, especially with Jerry Jones. I think the Seahawks could have been a team, but Geno has looked good since he came in. But when Russ was gone, it looked like they were heading in that direction. But Geno came in and was phenomenal. We talked about the Rams. I think this may be Matthew Stafford's last year. I think this could be Sean McVay's last year. I think they're a team that should just fire sell and just get rid of your talent and build through the draft. But I definitely think there are teams that should be just completely rebuilding, just trade everything you got and just work through the draft and free agency. I definitely do believe in full rebuilding.
I 100% believe that or agree with you, but I wanted to ask you this because you just don't see it very often. If I was an NFL team, I would hate to be in purgatory. Your teams are going to be just as invested with all of these young guys as they are going to be winning 8 games with an old team. But Giants fans have gone through a lot of shit, but Tyrone Tracy, after every game that he plays good, any Giants fan on your timeline is happy because he's a 4th round pick and he looks awesome. And you got Malik Neighbors look awesome. And the Giants are in a weird spot because they are young. They just got to figure out their quarterback spot, and I believe that they can be a good team. But I think that more teams should you can see a star player traded like Stephon Diggs was traded and stuff like that. Amari Cooper got traded from the Cowboys a couple years ago. But you don't really see full sells.
No, you don't. But you also have to pick and choose when you do it. You got to know if we just talked about the Titans. You got to know, okay, we're not going to trade Will Levis. We're not going to let go of Will Levis now because what are we going to do? You have to have a plan if you're going to do it. You got to know, okay, this is a superstar quarterback draft, so we know we can get our guy. There's 5 quarterbacks coming out. We know that all of them have talent. They all can be great. So you just got to know when you want to rebuild. But I definitely do believe in rebuilding, fire selling. So yeah.
Last one. Personally, my favorite one. Buy or sell late career boosts for quarterbacks. For instance, you got Sam Darnold, you got Geno Smith, you got Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Gardner Minshew, those type of guys.
Yeah.
Not so much the Joe Flacco's or the Andy Daltons who are like super vets.
Yeah.
But guys who get a new chance and can flourish.
Yeah, situation matters. It matters. Like if you're a team that's, really good, not really good, but you're a pretty decent team, But you can't draft the young guy because we're a team that kind of wants to win now. We don't have time to develop a guy. You go and get a guy like a Sam Darnold, a Baker Mayfield, or like guys like that. You give him a 1-year deal and just see what you got. And what do you know? Baker Mayfield plays like a Pro Bowler. You got your guy for the next few years in Tampa Bay. Sam Darnold's looked pretty good this season. You might have your guy for the next couple of years until a guy like JJ McCarthy is ready. So I definitely do believe in that because, like I said, situation matters. You see Geno Smith over there balling in Seattle now when he looked like
the change of scenery is the cure sometimes.
An absolute bust with the Jets. He was with the Giants at some point, and now he's a Pro Bowler. Now he's been and a quality level starter. So I definitely do think the situation and the position you're in matters.
Now I got a list for you. Now, imagine you have a good team, but you don't have a quarterback, and you're either buying or selling these guys to come in and do something with your roster. And if you want to stop and talk about them,
these are all free agent quarterbacks.
They're backups. Jake Browning.
I think you could take a flyer on him. He looked solid when not Andy Dalton when Joe Burrow was hurt. He looked solid. So if honestly, this is not a team. There's something I would do if I was like a team looking to win. But if I was a team that wanted some quarterback competition for a younger guy,
say you're the Vikings. Say you don't have JJ, and you got to pull a Sam Darnold, and you're just buying or selling these guys to come in and play that role.
Yeah. I think I in that case I would. If like you said, if I didn't have JJ, I think I would. Say if it was the offseason, I didn't have JJ, but I had Sam Darnold, I would definitely bring in a guy like Jake Browning and have him and Sam Darnold compete for the quarterback one job.
Drew Lock.
I think he just deserves another chance. He showed flashes in Seattle when Geno was hurt. He led that game-winning drive against the Eagles last season. So I would buy in a Drew Lock, being decent somewhere. Not that he's gonna be some like turnaround like how Geno did, but that he can show flashes somewhere else. Same thing for Jake Browning.
Jameis Winston.
No. I think we've seen enough of Jameis to know what he is. He's going to be a guy that the team is going to rally around, but I don't think if you're looking to win, I don't think Jameis is your guy. I think he's just going to be fun, bring some good spirit, some good vibes to the team. I don't think if you're looking to win, you bring in Jameis Winston.
I got 15 guys, so if you wanted to say buy or sell quickly, we can. If you like them and you want to talk about them.
Yeah.
Cool. Sam Howell.
Sell. We can move on.
You're wrong. You're very wrong, and you know you're wrong.
We can move on. So you
didn't even think about that one because
15.
you know
you said
you
didn't
even think about.
Let's
Shut
move
the
through
fuck up!
these.
Shut the fuck up! You Carson Wentz.
No, sell. We saw him with the Colts. He didn't look very good. Josh Dobbs. Sell as well. He's probably the best backup you'll get, but I don't think Josh Dobbs should be your starter.
Fair enough. Mason Rudolph.
No, sell. If it's a perfect situation, Mac Jones sell as well. I really liked Mac Jones in his rookie year. I went to war for him at times, but he's just not good. So sell.
He's not. And Plug and Suge both know that firsthand. Kenny Pickett.
See, Kenny Pickett's a guy like I mentioned with the first two quarterbacks. Kenny Pickett definitely will get another shot one day. I think, knock on wood, if Jalen Hurts ever gets hurt, I think the Eagles can still be a competent team. He could probably still win them a few games, but I think Kenny Pickett will. He's a guy like I mentioned earlier. You bring in for some quarterback competition. If your quarterback's not playing well, you can definitely bring in a guy like Kenny Pickett, and he'll be solid enough for you guys.
Tyrod Taylor.
No, Tyrod Taylor's he's just the backup vibes. Like in the NBA, somebody has like the 6-man energy.
James Johnson. He's a James Johnson.
Tyrod Taylor's just a backup quarterback energy. You'll see him every now and then because he'll come in for a couple of plays when somebody's hurt, but no, he's not a starter.
Mitch Trubisky?
No, absolutely not.
Marcus Mariota?
He looked good in that one game against I don't even remember who it was, but where Jaden got hurt. But no, I think he's just a backup at this point. He didn't look good in Atlanta, I think it was last year. So I no, he's just a backup at this point.
Kyle Trask?
I feel like he never got his actual chance. So maybe somewhere he could, but as of right now, I wouldn't buy into that.
Davis Mills.
Davis Mills was Oh my goodness, Davis Mills, I defended so hard. I really liked him for the Texans for that season and a half, 2 seasons. But then you got CJ Stroud, and I was like, well, shit. What do you want? What do you want me to do, Davis Mills? I can't defend you anymore. CJ's your guy. But I think Davis Mills can play. He can really play. So I think he's a great backup for the Texans. I think if somebody wants to take a flyer on him, I'd go ahead because I really think Davis Mills can play.
It seems like he's just cool with being the backup, though. He just keeps taking the 1-year extension to be the backup. Yeah, that's nothing wrong with it. Last one, Desmond Ridder.
No, I don't think Desmond Ridder is any good. I don't think he's any good. A guy who I didn't hear on this list, who I mentioned a few times on the pod, Jarrett Stidham. I promise you, Jarrett Stidham can be a starter somewhere. Jarrett Stidham can play, bro. He can play.
I will be mentioning Jarrett Stidham in a little bit.
Jarrett Stidham should be a starter somewhere. The Raiders should have kept him. The Raiders should have kept Jarrett Stidham.
Zach Wilson?
Oh, Zach Wilson deserves another shot somewhere. He deserves another shot. He'll get it.
I loved that TikTok of them just chilling on the couch.
On the couch. Yeah. That was really cool to see that all 3 of them hanging out. Yeah, definitely was. But I think that's all of our... No, we got our pick'ems. We can review our pick'ems and then we can get into our review for week 11.
So pick'ems this week. You got 11 correct.
Mm-hmm.
That means you got 3 wrong. 3 of 14. That's very good.
Hell yeah. What were my misses?
You got the Niners wrong and the Pats wrong.
Oh, shit. Well, I must have missed one more.
No.
Because you said I missed 3. You said I was 11 for 14.
Falcons, I'm sorry. Falcons.
So the Falcons, the Niners, and sorry, who else was it? Oh, the Pats. Yeah. Okay. All right. It's a pretty good week for me, man. Taking the Bills, taking the Saints, I guess. The Colts. Yeah, it's a pretty decent week. We'll take it. And the Steelers. Taking my steel curtain. Dark saying I've been showing too much love. He's saying I'm going to jinx them, but I'm still riding with the steel curtain, baby. I'm waving the terrible towels. But yeah,
overall, you moved to 3-4-4. So I'm 4-4-3.
Uh-huh. And what about overall,
total picks?
Game? Yeah.
You moved to 104.
Uh-huh.
I moved to 102.
Hell yeah! And we did say a couple weeks ago we're going by over total picks, like each game.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
No, but finally, I think I needed a week like this, because I have been lagging the entire season.
Finally!
So it's good to see that I, made up for it and had myself a pretty decent week. Bro, you need to get back.
Come back.
You need to get back on I don't want to see you come back at WrestleMania time again. I don't want to see you just make your return just because it's fucking Mania season. My brother called me when I got home and he was like, yo, Raw, it started off with a bang. So, I'm gonna need you
I tried. I don't have a way to watch it anymore.
And I told you I could give you a way to watch it. I could give you my brother's provider and you could watch it, but you was like, no, it don't matter to me that much. It don't matter to me that much. But let's get into this week 11.
Hey, Survivor should be over soon. Once Survivor ends,
bro. Me and my brother used to watch Survivor every Wednesday when it came on.
You also used to watch the challenge.
The challenge. I think I've moved past that era of my life. I loved the challenge. Like some of my guys, like Corey Nelson. Those are my guys.
Corey's about to make the final.
Hopefully he can finally get that. Hopefully he can finally get it done. Is Leroy still around?
Johnny Bananas is still there. Leroy was literally the first out.
Oh my God. Was it a fucking swimming challenge or something? And his ass got put up?
I don't even remember. It was the first episode and he got eliminated. And you never even watched the first episode.
Man, me and my brother, we always went to, because Leroy's just a fan favorite. We always said his ass was like fucking like Carmelo Anthony or some shit. Just could never get a fucking ring. Could never get a final. His ass is so good, but so bad, bro. He's
not good at anything. He's likable.
Yeah, he's just a likable guy. Exactly.
He can't run. He's dumb. He can't swim. Like, you're screwed.
His ass. Oh man, you would think he'd work on his game in the off season. Get a fucking swimming coach, something. Nobody fucking watches the challenge, and we're just sitting here talking about.
I think Jordan gonna win again. That's my pick.
Shout out Jordan. Is Tori still there?
She is.
Okay. So I'll probably be rooting for Corey and Tori. Was Jenna
Do
in
you
this
know
season?
she was not?
Oh,
Do you know
okay.
Kyland?
Nah, I don't.
You would love him.
Yeah, these past few seasons,
Absolute dog.
I will say one thing: is Josh still there?
Josh is
Yeah, I'm
still
not
there.
fucking tuning in. I am not tuning in. Josh is still that fucking cry baby. I am. Has he cried this season?
I mean, probably he always cries, but he hasn't been that bad, to be
Okay,
honest.
okay.
He just wants to be friends with everyone, but you can't be in an alliance with everyone. So he
Yeah.
gets upset. This person gets mad at him, and he's too dumb to realize why they're upset with him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Shout out
I
to
want either
Challenge.
Jordan or Kylan to win though, because Kylan is like he's a black man with autism.
Okay.
Sweet.
All right. But yeah, the Survivor's a show I definitely been wanting to get back into. My brother records them all, so I could just go back and watch it. He also records the challenge, but I could go back and watch Survivor because I used to be a huge Survivor guy. My brother, I gotta find it one of these days. My brother made a thingy for Survivor, like a submission thing, because he wanted to be on it so bad. I gotta go back and find it because it was definitely super cringe. But shout out
Last
to
season was elite. This
Really?
season's so good, but it's not quite as good.
Yeah. Shout out to Survivor, man. An amazing show. But let's get to
Not
what the
really
people
jealous.
care about, football. You know, the people just tuned us out for the last 2 minutes talking about Survivor and the challenge and WWE. But
Skip.
yeah, but we're gonna move this through this one pretty quick. Probably the Miami Dolphins moved to 4-6 and beat the Raiders, who fall to 2-8. The Dolphins win 34-19. Go ahead if there's anything you would like to say.
The Dolphins have an easy-ass schedule to finish the season. We've mentioned that several times. The Dolphins are now on a 2-game win streak. Jonnu Smith is their best receiver. The Raiders, you probably won't get another word from me this whole season.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Their run game is putrid. Moving on.
Putrid.
To Browns
at
and Saints. Yep.
Browns fall to 2-8. Saints move up to 4-7. I talked to Frosty yesterday, and he was all like, "Yeah,
He was so hyped,
back."
and yeah, we're back.
And-
I see.
and-
Yeah.
Personally, I don't understand why you would be excited to win.
Yeah.
You're bad. Your cap space is hell.
Yeah.
You should be wanting to lose, Frosty. I'm sorry. Kool-Aid McKinstry got his first start of the season. He had 4 targets against him. The first one was a bad throw, Judy across the middle, and Joku across the middle, and then the play that was a scoop and score. Derek Carr, I don't like you. Dennis Allen was holding back Clint Kubiak, I believe, because Kubiak had a damn scheme that was masterful this week. Chase Young, stud.
Did you see that play of him? He didn't know he was supposed to be on the field, and then he ran back onto the field and got the tackle for loss.
He never got set, and he had the tackle for loss.
never got set, yeah. And Taysom Hill is probably the story coming out of this game. Boy, he had himself a game.
I don't like Taysom Hill. He pisses me the hell off because, yeah, he's talented, but they shouldn't give all of Alvin Kamara's damn touchdowns to Taysom Hill.
You have Alvin Kamara in fantasy?
I mean, I do, but that's not even the reason why. It feels disrespectful that Taysom gets all of them, dude. My shout out is to Taliesin Fuaga. He held Myles Garrett down, so that's cool. And prayers up to DeJuan Jones. He fractured his ankle.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Colts at the New York Jets. The Colts moved to 5-6.
Oh, shit. I was on the wrong game.
That's not the one you get.
No, I accidentally clicked on the Vikings game, so good shit.
Jets fall to 3-8.
Yeah.
This is a game I don't have a lot to say about. As I said earlier, I don't blame Steichen for benching him. You're orange again. Anthony Richardson, I love you to death. I'm begging you to make this push for the playoffs. I think he is so talented, dude.
He is.
He looked amazing in this game. He opens up the run game. Yeah, it was bad this week, but he looked great in the passing game too. He led 2 70-yard drives to win the game, and it wasn't even just bombs. Their final drive, he did have a 30-40-yard pass to Alec Pierce on the right sideline. If they go back to Joe Flacco for any reason other than Anthony Richardson is just hurt,
fire everybody.
Fire everybody.
Roger Goodell should go down to Indianapolis and literally terminate everybody if they go back to Joe Flacco other than Anthony Richardson being hurt. Anthony Richardson played very well, and like you said, he's super talented. There aren't many quarterbacks more talented and more gifted than Anthony Richardson in the league. He just has to put it together, calm down in the pocket, be more accurate, be able to make throws across the middle, and just lead drives like he did on Sunday, and he'll be able to be one of the best in the league if he can just put it together, because he has the talent.
It infuriates me how many people bandwagon right back to him.
I didn't see that, but I could definitely see why you felt that way. Like, and the Colts were my team coming into this year, where it was like they're gonna be like scary good, and because last season it was Jordan Love. Jordan Love was my guy last year, and he came out and proved me right, and he balled out. And this year I came in talking about Anthony Richardson and saying the Colts were gonna be that team, and it's not. It hasn't been great this season, but it's good to see him get a win. And he brought the swagger right back to that team, something that Joe Flacco just can't bring. But now, let's move on to your Minnesota Vikings beating the Tennessee Titans 23-13. Like you mentioned earlier, Sam Darnold had himself a pretty decent outing. Will Levis looked pretty solid as well. The Vikings moved to 8-2. The Tennessee Titans fall to 2-8. Is there anything you'd like to say? Go ahead.
Shout out Sam Darnold. He had some great throws to Jordan Addison in the end zone. Aaron Jones had a bad game for fantasy, which made me sad.
Jordan Addison on my bench.
He probably had like 12 points.
Not to make this about fantasy. Did you see the game you won this week? You and Suge put on a fucking stinker. A fucking stinker. Did you even put up 90 points? You got the win. You got the win.
I put up 86 points. Suge had, I think, 75 going into the week.
Oh my god.
Okay, so we had 73 going into the week. Suge had 73 going into the week with Jake Ferguson left. And Jake Ferguson gets a concussion in the first quarter.
Like, that is disgusting. And then did you see, Dark texted me saying he's quitting fantasy. And I'm like, wow, you lost, but what happened? Dark put up 180 and lost. 180 and but got 188 put up on him. Like, that is some, I'm quitting fantasy football type of shit. You put up 180 and lose? I think this is back-to-back weeks where he's second in scoring, but still lost. So it's just...
And Plug got his heart broken.
Oh, did he?
Joe Mixon.
No. Dark played Joe Mixon. You said Plug.
Who did Plug get his heart broken by?
I'm not sure. Who did Plug play? Plug played.
I just saw Plug was.
Oh, yeah, Plug lost by 4. Dang.
Yeah, he was all upset.
It was somebody tonight, huh? Well, you didn't have anybody play tonight. Chip didn't have anybody play tonight, so I'm not sure.
No, I think it was him. I think he might have had someone.
Oh, okay. That probably makes more sense. Rico Dowdle had 5.
Yeah, Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, so I don't know if he was expecting.
Why he was right?
Yeah, I don't know what more he was expecting from Rico Dowdle. Maybe because he was just gonna get the number one, like all the carries, and it was gonna be a split backfield. But yeah, some rough fantasy this week, man. Both of my money leagues I lost in this week, so I'm moving to 6-5 in both of those leagues. And of course, the league where it's not for any money, just a little fun thing with my friends. Of course, I fucking blow that guy out.
This is the only league I won in this week.
Our league.
86 points.
And you put up 86. Like, why couldn't I play you? Why couldn't I have played Suge? Like, fucking 86 to 75? Like, that's atrocious. Look at him. That is atrocious.
Number one, baby.
And
Number one in the league.
Grimy got his first win of the season, by the way. So clap it up for Grimy. He got his first win of the season against Ant. Shout out to Grimy. You're no longer 0-10.
Number one on that field and number one in your heart.
86
Shout out Joe.
to 75.
I don't remember Joe's last name.
Now I'm falling
Kingman. Shout out Joe Kingman.
Falling to this fucking 6 seed, bro.
Hey, come off season, we're doing a draft of best football movies.
Okay. Just know.
So I know you're not a big movie guy. Movie guy. I'm telling you right now, get in your bag, get to watching. We're doing the damn draft.
For what it means to me, The Blind Side will be my number 1 overall pick. You can say it's not the greatest movie or anything like that, but The Blind Side is...
Michael Orr hates that movie.
The Blind Side is one of my favorite movies ever. I always say it's in my top 3. I love The Blind Side, so The Blind Side will be my number 1 overall pick. I'm telling you right now.
Hey, deadass, read the book. Read his memoir.
Okay.
It's phenomenal. His memoir made me cry, and I hate the movie.
All right. You hate the movie. Wow. I love The Blind. Well, I haven't watched it in years, but I love The Blind Side so much.
I got the same thing with the game plan, though. It's like when you're a little kid, you just get attached to him.
Not the game plan. That is... But The Blind Side...
Poll in the comments if you're here.
Oh, my God.
If you're here to the game plan or The Blind Side.
The Blind Side. The Blind Side.
We'll get there. I'm telling you right now, we are doing that draft.
Okay.
So don't get there and be like, oh, I don't watch movies.
Shut the fuck up. Moving on, bro. The Green Bay Packers win at the last second against the Chicago Bears. They beat the Bears 20-19. The Packers improved to 7-3. The Bears continue to slide, and now they're 4-6. Go ahead, man.
And this game was exciting, which is in the first place all I care about.
Yeah, I thought that when you asked about the overtime games, I thought this could have been one of them, and it came down to the wire, so I was glad.
This is the second time Caleb Williams has led a great drive at the end of the game for it not to mean a damn thing because they end up losing. And what I want to talk about is the changed offensive coordinator. I'm not going to overreact to the offense yet, but it's clearly different. And the changes they made is Caleb had some designed runs. He was more decisive as a scrambler. They had DJ Moore screens, got him more involved, which, I mean, when you're more involved in the offense, you shouldn't be bitching anymore. They use Roshan in the red zone a lot, which I love Roshan. And then they use Swift primarily on the outside runs.
Mm-hmm.
And hot take maybe, I think Eberflus needs to be fired.
Not a hot take. Not a hot take at all.
I think they move... Damn, what's his name? The new OC. I can't think of his name. It's something Brown, I want to say. I think they should move him into the head coach role. He's getting moved up very fast, but Eberflus sucks.
I always hate that for like a interim head coach. It's like, I was just a fucking OC, but because our head coach gets hurt, I have to come and be the head coach. Or, I said our head coach gets hurt. But because our head coach gets fired, I have to come and be the head coach. For you to just find a new head coach in the offseason, so now I'm going to be out of a job. Because it's never like, okay, you're our interim head coach for the rest of the season. We're moving you back to offensive coordinator next season when we find a new coach. It's like, okay, now you're out of here. We're finding a new coach, and he's going to bring in someone else. So I always hate that for the interim head coaches. I always hate it for them. Yep. But, yeah, like you said, I really love what... So just fuck me. Go ahead, bro.
I started to talk before you did. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I didn't really have much to say. I just said, like you said, I really liked what I saw from Caleb Williams, especially on the ground. He had 9 for 70 on the ground this past weekend. I really love the design runs for Caleb. I love that instead of him holding on to the ball for so long, it was him being decisive and just, breaking it out and running the ball instead of just standing there and waiting for something to develop down the field. Like you said, they had some design runs for him. And what I will say about Jordan Love, it wasn't his worst game, wasn't his best game. I just hope there's a game this season where he can just stop turning the ball over. He has 11 interceptions on the season, but it hasn't bitten them in the ass yet. But I just would love for him to cut down on the turnovers. Go ahead.
I just looked at my little bookshelf and realized I don't have Michael Orr's memoir anymore, so I'm about to order that.
All right.
Christian Watson had 4 for 150, one of his better games of the season, and it makes me mad because Romeo Doubs had 1 reception.
It's a new guy every week for the Packers. It's a new guy literally every week for them. But moving on. Oh my goodness, a boat race. The Detroit Lions smack the Jacksonville Jaguars 52-6. I don't know if we need to say much here. The Lions are a very, 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 very good team. The Jaguars are a very, 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 very bad team. And I think that's all I got to say.
I got a list of things I want to say real quick. Stop me if you want to chime in. We're still rocking with Doug Peterson. Don't know why. The Lions have scored 52 twice this season. The highest point total on the season, and they've done it twice. As I said, the Lions are adding in more Sonic nicknames. Doug Peterson said he's not looking to fire any coaches on his staff. And if you're going to point fingers, point them at him. Doug, we are pointing.
We are.
The 46-point loss is the biggest in Jaguars history. And I don't remember if it was Schefter or Rappaport, but Saturday night, they were like, a big loss is probably going to be Doug Peterson's last game, and he's still doing interviews for the team. I'm sure I'll be at work tomorrow, and I'll be like, Doug Peterson has been fired by the Jaguars. It's a mutual parting, blah, blah, blah.
I hate the mutual parting.
I'm putting it into the world. Doug Peterson is fired from the Jaguars. We can talk about it now. Bye, Doug. Whoever they end up hiring, you're better than Doug.
I honestly don't think he is.
Last two. Not because whoever they end up hiring?
No, I don't think he's going to get fired.
Oh, you don't think he's going to get fired? Okay. Last two things are injuries. Gabe Davis tore his meniscus, and they said a full meniscus repair, which is often the option chosen, would not Gabe Davis out for the season, but is usually best for long-term health.
Absolutely.
A meniscus trim would likely land Gabe Davis on IR, but means he could return this season. There's no reason to return this season due to whole repair.
And it feels like even in basketball too, I know like Robert Williams had that trim and it still bothered him even months after. So I just get the full repair and you'll be back next year.
Shout out to your guy. Robert Williams has been good this year in the minutes he plays.
I saw. Shout out Robert Williams. I don't know. Plug is a huge Robert Williams guy. Shout out to Big Rob. Moving on.
I used to compare him to Bam, and that's hilarious. Last thing, Alex Anzalone broke his forearm.
Yeah, and it was he got like sandwiched in between two people. His arms. It was. Hey man, it sucked to see. But moving on, the Los Angeles.
Was Ian Rappaport, by the way, that was talking about the trim and shit.
Los Angeles.
That doctor shit.
You done? The Los Angeles Rams beat the New England Patriots 28-22. Matthew Stafford balls out. Drake May does his thing again. The Rams win. Move ahead of the Niners in the NFC. Move ahead of the Niners in the NFC West. Disappointing day for the Niners, but not to make this about us. Go ahead, man.
Both agendas that I wanted to push going into this game have come to light. The Rams win, moving to 5-5, making it fun in the division.
Yeah.
And the Rams win because Booper Bupp and Puka Nacua both hooped. And then Drake May also looked phenomenal. And I'm becoming more of a Drake May fan every week.
By the end of their careers, is Drake May going to be the best rookie quarterback from this draft class?
No.
Jaden? You're still taking Jaden? Caleb? Okay. Man, yeah, no. Shout out to Drake May. He's looked better and better every week. He's playing his ass off. But the Rams, man, for a team that we talked about should be selling a few weeks ago, they look like they could win the division and maybe knock off a team. Because if the Rams get in, I think they're a team that could maybe win a game or two. They could upset anybody on any given Sunday if they get in, because you got a guy like Matthew Stafford, a future Hall of Famer, and you got two studs out wide. You got Kyron Williams, and they can really put up points on anybody on any given Sunday. So they're definitely a team to look out for. And as far as the Patriots, there isn't much to say. You'll be back next year, but at least you got your guy. Man, yeah. That's really all I say here. Shout out Kendrick Bourne.
Commanders or Rams?
If they played each other?
To make the playoffs.
Oh, to make the playoffs? The Commanders. The only way the NFC gets a playoff team, I think, is from the division. I really don't think any team is gonna catch those three wild card teams. I really think the only way the NFC West gets in is from winning the division. So we're only gonna have one team, I think. But moving on to probably your favorite game of the weekend, the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Baltimore Ravens 18-16 after a failed 2-point conversion at the end. Not really a great game from either quarterback, but Russell Wilson and the Steelers get it done. I know these are your Ravens, so if you have anything to say off top, be my guest.
It was in Pittsburgh, so they had the advantage.
Mm-hmm.
They had the fans behind them, and Pittsburgh is a hard place to play in.
Mm-hmm.
But not very often can you say the Ravens aren't fun to watch. Whether they win or lose, at least Lamar Jackson is usually consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar was overthrowing everything early on in this game, man. Everything. Whether it was a short pass, a deep pass, it was just like, Lamar, what are you doing? And then he must have overcompensated too much because he was throwing it, and the D-line was just batting it down. And it was unbearable, dude. It was just overall not a great game for Lamar. Yeah, he ended up picking it up in the second half and later on in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, it's in Pittsburgh. And then you lose by 2. And similar to Joe Burrow, once we get to him, the top 2 quarterbacks both got sold by their kickers this week. Justin Tucker is in conversations for the greatest kicker of all time. He's washed. Mm-hmm. It sucks to say. He is just not very good anymore. And I don't know if it's in his head or if it's in his skill or what's going on, but he missed a 47, and then it's like, okay, well, we're going to throw him out there again for a 50. He misses the 50. And the reporter after the game tried setting him up, and it went like semi-viral on Twitter. And she asked him if he was missing because it wasn't like the best surface. And he was like, "Yeah, it's not the ideal surface, but you, as a kicker, you train for everything, and
Yeah, he's just not gonna
you
make.
got
He's
to be
not gonna say.
prepared." As
Yeah,
long.
he's not gonna make the excuse. Yeah.
But people took his response as like him making the excuse,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't take it that way. It seemed to me as if they were trying to frame him. The Steelers linebacker Peyton Wilson had the play of the game, jumping up and having the one hand snag,
Yeah,
like
not Lamar
ripping it
Smart
from
on the
Justice
fault on
Hill.
the interception. Yeah.
It was 15-10, and the Ravens were driving, changed the complete like the whole momentum. And then when the Ravens did score to make it 18-16, and they went for the 2-point conversion, they were going for like a sweep to the right with Lamar, just a quarterback design run, which was a terrible play call.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do the same thing, but come out to the left after the timeout.
Yeah,
Derrick Henry's not even on the field.
And then, even if you're not going to give it to Derrick Henry, at least put him on the field for the threat. So the Steelers are threatened that they have to guard him. And then on that 2-point conversion play, I don't know if you've seen it, but like it was Nelson Aguilar and Isaiah Likely. It looked like there was some miscommunication between the two. Like Nelson Aguilar was trying to tell Isaiah Likely, no, you're supposed to be over here. And Isaiah Likely's like smacking his hand away, like saying, no, I'm good. So I don't know if one of them was supposed to be outside blocking to make it easier for Lamar Jackson. But yeah, it looked like it was miscommunication from the start, and it wasn't a great play call to begin with. But
John Harbaugh is just too good to be calling that type of play with the game on the line.
But as far as the Steelers, like I said, this puts them at number 1 in the division and puts them in the number 1 seed race for the entire conference. But I know they're not a team that's going to put up a bunch of points, but it definitely wasn't a good look for them not to be able to shred this secondary like how everybody else has been able to this season. I know you're not a super high-powered offense, but we've seen Russ just this season air it out multiple times and, look very, very good for them not to look as good against a secondary that has looked garbage all season is definitely, a cause for concern. But it's not what the Steelers do, so I'm not going to lead too much into it. But, yeah. And as far as the Ravens...
They mentioned that on commentary. That I don't remember who was commentating this game. Maybe it was Romo. But he said that Zach Orr said that it was a major focal point of their plans the last couple days and weeks to figure out their pass defense because they were literally 32nd in the league.
Yeah, it's been terrible.
And they looked way better. I don't know if it's, as you were saying, because the Steelers stink or if Ravens are actually trying to.
Yeah. As far as the Ravens losing, I'm not looking too deep into it. I don't think this changes what I thought about them before. They just turn the ball over a lot of times. I think they turned it over 3 times when they haven't turned it over in their last 3 games on Sunday. And then you have that weird interception where the guy literally rips it out of Justice Hill's hand. You got Derrick Henry fumbling on the opening, and he's smashing the bench, pissed at himself.
Dude,
so I think
he was beating
the shit out of the bench. He was pissed. But like I said, I don't think this changes anything on the outlook for the Ravens as far as me. But the Steelers, man, they continue to win. They beat the Ravens again, 8-2. I really think they're going to win this division. And I really think, like I said earlier, I think they can beat anybody on any given Sunday. Anybody, because defense travels, man. Their offense may not put up 35 points a game, but their defense is always going to be there. TJ Watt's going to be there. Alex Highsmith when he's all healthy. They added Preston Smith, Joey Porter on the outside, Minka Fitzpatrick. They got players, man. So like I said, they can beat anybody. They can beat anybody. Moving on.
Just realized you ain't do a mic check before we start. I hope I sound okay.
You want to do a mic check right now?
I think it's kind of too late.
Moving on.
Have your segment.
The Seattle Seahawks.
Let me go before you start. The only thing I have to say.
Can I say what the game was?
Oh yeah.
The Seattle Seahawks come into Santa Clara and beat the 49ers 20-17. Both teams moved to 5-5. Go ahead.
Geno has had to been perfect for the Seahawks to win games, and I expected that the Niners defense would say, haha, that's not happening, and the Niners would easily win this game. If you look at the scoreboard, that didn't happen, so go ahead.
Yeah, Geno wasn't perfect, and it literally did not matter. It did not matter. In the end, he was perfect on that final drive, and that's all that mattered. Because like I've said a million times, the 49ers don't know how to stop a quarterback from running. A quarterback runs on them and they're like, oh shit, I didn't know a quarterback was able to do that. I didn't know your quarterbacks are able to run. It's like every fucking game, it's the same thing. A quarterback that can run will beat us every single time. But Kyle Shanahan, man. Kyle Shanahan, he's been in the 49ers circle, like talking heads about the Niners. He's been the focal point this week, and I think rightfully so. Kyle Shanahan's a quarterback who's going to he's a coach that's going to give his quarterback 2 plays at the line of scrimmage. If you don't like the first one, you check to the other one. You're not going to make adjustments at the line of scrimmage. You're not going to chase the protection at the line of scrimmage. You're not going to say, hey, left guard, you should be blocking him instead of him. Hey, he's blitzing off the edge. No, it's Kyle Shanahan has a play call. If you think it's not going to work, you can. We're on to the second play call, and that's about it. And I understand if you have a quarterback in the past like Jimmy Garoppolo, but you have a guy like Brock Purdy. You have a guy like, I love when quarterbacks do it. Can.
But it makes me laugh every time you do it when you're streaming because you do it loud as hell.
But you have a quarterback like Brock Purdy who's definitely capable of doing that. And then when Brock just has to can to the second play, you still have a free blitzer off the edge, a free rusher off the edge, and he has to throw it hot every single time. And defenses are adjusting to it. They know the 49ers aren't going to make pre-snap adjustments. You saw it in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs did it to us. Steve Spagnuolo, one of the best coordinators in the league. He knows the 49ers aren't going to make pre-snap adjustments. So if we show them this at the line of scrimmage, then we do this after the play, they're going to have nothing to account for it. Nothing to account for it. You're not going to see Christian McCaffrey be moved to this side of the formation by Brock Purdy. It's whatever Kyle Shanahan calls. We're sticking to that. And for as good as Kyle Shanahan is, I would love to see him give his quarterback some freedom in the offense to just be able to make those changes at the line of scrimmage and not say we're living or dying by whatever I call because I'm Kyle Shanahan and I'm the offensive guru. You have to be able to scheme guys open when you're playing a certain defense. You have guys like Deebo Samuel who's never been a great route runner. So when we have to throw hot to Deebo Samuel, what are you expecting? The Deebo Samuel end around hasn't worked in the past 3 seasons, Kyle Shanahan. Enough. The Deebo runs don't work. And another thing with Kyle Shanahan, why did we just forget who Jordan Mason was? It doesn't make any sense. Jordan Mason had 2 carries for I think 13 yards. So what is that? An average of what? 6.5 per carry? I have to go click on the game, but Christian McCaffrey again wasn't very good. He wasn't very good. He wasn't a world beater like he was last season. Let me see what his average was. He averaged 4.2. The average in the NFL is 4.5. So Christian McCaffrey was below average. Jordan Mason averaged 6.5 a carry. He was one of the top rushers in the first 6 weeks, and we just forgot about him because Christian McCaffrey's back. I'm not saying Jordan Mason should be having the bulk of the workload, but why can't we have a 60-40 backfield, especially when Christian McCaffrey is just coming back from an injury? He's just coming back from Achilles tendonitis, and we're playing him like he's Christian McCaffrey of last year, like he's just super healthy. And Juwan Jennings, man, you're a stud. If we don't have George Kittle, it seems like Kyle Shanahan can't put together a run game that's going to work. Whenever George Kittle's not in there, it seems like this run game is piss poor. It is god awful. It's nowhere near the same. But like I said, Juwan Jennings, you're a stud. Deebo Samuel, for you to get paid $23 million a year, and this is your production, this is probably his last season with the team, and I'm not opposed to that at all. At all. But man, Nick Bosa was really good in this game, but he ended up getting hurt. He's had one oblique hurt. This game he hurt the other oblique, so both sides are hurt now after he sacked Geno Smith. He had 2 sacks on Geno, and then ever since the Seahawks didn't score a touchdown when Bosa was in the game. Then he got hurt, and that's when they went and scored 2. Fred Warner wasn't very good in this game. Deommodore Lenoir did his thing, which he's been doing all season. And who I want to talk about as well is Renardo Green, the rookie cornerback, who I've been saying we should have been playing all season over Isaac Yiadom, who had to pick this game. But Renardo Green has been playing like one of the best rookies in the class this season. He's been phenomenal. For Charvarius Ward, who's been out because of his daughter passing away, he's missed the past few games. So Renardo Green, the way he stepped in and filled his shoes, I'm happy to see that. But yeah, man, another disappointing loss. I really think this tanks our playoff chances. Especially that we can't get in as a wild card. We have to win the division, and with the Cardinals having the schedule that they do, I think it's gonna be tough for us to get in. So if I was a betting man and I had to put my money on it, I would definitely take the Cardinals to win the division. So, and you're grinning over that, but yeah, I really think this comes down to Kyle Shanahan just being stuck in his own lane and wanting to be the reason why this offense looks productive when we have players who are able to do things outside of your scheme and your style.
Shout out Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's been amazing.
Yeah.
We can move on.
I wish D'Amico Ryans was still our defensive coordinator, man. Bring back Robert Saleh in the offseason.
You could probably do that. You ain't going nowhere else.
Moving on, the Denver Broncos beat the Falcons 38-6. Go ahead.
I'll be honest, when 4 o'clock games played, these 3 hit, and you were streaming, and at halftime of your game, I came in and I said, damn, this game's boring.
Yeah, it was so boring.
I stopped watching.
Yeah, if I wasn't a fan of either, if I was a fan of the Niners or the Seahawks, I don't think I would have been tuned into this game too much either. The previous game, sorry, but no.
The Broncos beat the brakes off the Falcons. There was no reason to watch that.
No.
So I on the television, I had the Bills and the Chiefs, and then on my laptop, the Miami Heat were playing, so I had the Heat game on. And they broke my heart last night because Tyler Hero's the only player on the team.
I want you guys to know before we started recording, I asked Smallz, do you need another 30-second segment for the Heat? And here it is. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
No. We don't need it. But we played the Pacers yesterday, and Miles Turner gave us about 35, and he just... Oh, man. Bam had been great the last 3 games. He had 5 points tonight. Luckily, Jimmy Butler's back.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out, Jimmy. Drew Smith played 25 minutes tonight, and I fucking hate Drew Smith.
No, we don't need that. We don't need the 30 seconds. Look at him.
We can move on. 6-5 Falcons at the 6-5 Broncos. Bo Nix is the real deal. Falcons are going to get slaughtered in the playoffs. And what I want to talk about is I'm sure you saw Jesse Bates get interviewed, and they were laughing at him for saying Bo Nix played 10 years of college. If you actually watch the clip, he was like, he was giving Bo Nix his praise, and he was like, we've seen 10 games. You know what you're going to get out of him after 10 games.
Yeah.
And then he played, like 5 or 6 years in college, and the reporter is the one that said, 10 years, ha ha. Yeah. So Jesse Bates was like, yeah, 10 years, haha. And like he gets clipped out and is looking like the bad guy, and Broncos fans flood at Jesse Bates. It's not Jesse Bates' fault. Watch the damn videos, man. He wasn't even trying to insult the man. Kirk Cousins, before this game, he said that Darnell Mooney lets the offense know like where the pressure is coming from and when the pressure is coming on the offense. And you don't see that from receivers very often. And Kirk even was like, he went to their coordinator and asked him if he's ever seen a receiver tell the quarterback that. And I love Darnell Mooney, so it's cool to see that he has the intellectual part of him as well. Unfortunately, he's going from a horrific Bears team to an underachieving Falcons team, and they're just going to get killed in the playoffs. I don't have anything else to say about this. Go ahead.
I don't have much to say either. Their run game was atrocious. Last episode, I think I was saying their run game had been phenomenal. Bijan had looked great the past 5 weeks, which he had. And then for them to come out here and lay an egg like they did, and they just had to move away from the run game super early because they were getting boat raced. So they had to just, try to come back in this game and make something happen. We even saw Michael Penix. That's how bad this game got. But yeah, Bo Nix, man, only had 5 incompletions, had 4 touchdowns. He played his ass off. He's been playing very well as of late. I read off his numbers earlier in the last 7 games. I'm loving that he's getting a bunch of receivers involved. It's not just him and Cortland Sutton playing catch. It's Cortland Sutton. It's Lil Jordan Humphrey. And I was watching this game, and Lil Jordan Humphrey, when he scored his touchdown, the commentator had said, and there goes Cortland Sutton running for a touchdown. And I'm like, oh, am I seeing this wrong? Is it Cortland Sutton? And because I have Cortland Sutton in fantasy, so I could have used that. And I'm looking at it, and it says 84, not fucking 14. So that fucking commentator pissed me the fuck off. But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving that Bo Nix is getting his receivers involved. Javonte Williams had himself a decent little game. I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Broncos. That Broncos defense is definitely very solid. They were able to hold Bijan Robinson to 2.9 yards a carry. The Falcons, man, I said it earlier, they're lucky they play in the NFC South, because if they were in any other division, it'd be looking murky for them if whether they would make the playoffs or not. But it looks like they're just going to walk to the playoffs because they're in that division. But we can move on.
Chiefs Bills.
Yep.
Easily pregame game of the week, and it lived up to it. 2 elite quarterbacks. The Chiefs had nothing to do with the game. But this morning, the Chiefs signed Tyquan Thornton to their practice squad. And I liked Tyquan Thornton a lot in New England. I don't think Plug likes him, so whatever that tells you. But he's a tall, lanky guy who is very fast. And if anybody can pull something out of him, it'll be Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. Josh Allen beat the only remaining undefeated team, gets to fly back home to New York, and live with Haley Steinfeld. This is unfair.
That's 2 episodes in a row.
He's just a perfect man.
He's a baller, man. Go ahead.
I was in the shower and I was trying to think of any by ourselves, and I thought of one, and I couldn't remember when I got out of the shower.
Is that where you think about everything you're gonna say?
No, because I usually forget them when I get out of the shower.
Okay.
But one that I forgot to mention was, would you rather have a star guy that your quarterback throws to most of the time, or the power of friendship? Because the Chargers and the Bills are both running on the power of friendship.
I think more so the Chargers are running on the power of friendship, because what Justin Herbert is doing with that supporting cast is ridiculous.
With Will Dissly?
Yeah. Josh Allen has Amari Cooper, who we know what he can be. Khalil Shakir is decent. And when Keon Coleman's healthy, he has him as well. And he has James Cook. So I think it's more so the Chargers living with the power of friendship. But I would definitely have the star receiver, the 1-star receiver over this. But man, Josh Allen, I said it when I was streaming. I don't know it. Like, everybody has like their go-to move. I wouldn't say it's his go-to move, but no one's better at I'm falling out of bounds, running to the sideline, and I'm throwing it back in bounds than Josh Allen. He is so good at it for some reason. Every single time you think, oh, he's just throwing it away. He doesn't want to, take the loss of yards here. He's just throwing it away, throwing it out of bounds. But he's falling out and throwing it back into the middle of the field, and it looks beautiful every single time. So shout out to Josh Allen and the Bills for finally being the team to beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs offense hasn't looked very great at a lot of times this season, and they've really been relying on their defense, and it's been a lot of low scoring games that they've been able to pull through, and their defense will make a timely stop or something like that on 4th down, or blocking a kick, things like that. But yeah, I don't have much to say here.
Bad.
Was that?
Pat was bad.
Yeah. And he hasn't been great a lot of the season, but I don't think this moves much for me how I thought about the Chiefs. I don't know if it does for you. I still think I would take them as the team to beat in the AFC. I think the Bills could maybe give them a run for their money if they met again in the playoffs, but I think I would probably lean Chiefs. But as far as the outcome of this game changing of how I thought about either team, I don't think it does. I think this solidifies the Bills as the second best team in the AFC, though. But I don't think this moves them past the Chiefs.
Josh Allen's run to win the game, that 35-yard run, was beautiful, man. And I wholeheartedly believe that only him and Lamar Jackson are the 2 quarterbacks in football that could have done that.
Josh Allen, man, he is so good, bro. Good. You mentioned him and Justin Herbert. It's really crazy to see what they can do with anybody. It doesn't matter who you throw out there. He's going to go out there and still put up his numbers and still look like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So shout out to the Bills for getting it done, beating the unbeaten. The entire league was rooting for you, Buffalo, and you got it done. Moving on, man. This hurt me. This hurt me, man. I know I'm a Charger guy, but this hurt me. The Chargers on Sunday Night Football beat the Cincinnati Bengals 34-27. The Bengals fall to 4-7, but those Chargers move up to 7-3. Justin Herbert has himself a game, balls out, and what do you know? Joe Burrow also has himself a game, but the Bengals lose yet again. Man, I said I was talking to my.
Ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Is Punk still a show? Did they bring Punk back?
I have no clue.
Because Joe Burrow has to be getting pranked.
You texted me during this game anybody will find a way to just sell Joe Burrow or whatever you said. It's literally anybody will. It doesn't matter what Joe Burrow does. Someone's gonna lose this game for the Bengals. Their kicker missing, receivers not catching, somebody fumbling, their defense giving up 1,000,000 yards. Somebody will lose the game for the Bengals, and it will not be Joe Burrow's fault. Joe Burrow has been phenomenal. I was talking to my brother earlier. If the Bengals have a winning record, if they're somewhat decent, Joe Burrow's the runaway MVP. The runaway MVP, and I don't think it's close at all. I think Joe Burrow's playing the best quarterback. He's been playing the best quarterback this season. He's been phenomenal, but it doesn't matter because they haven't put together a good team around him. This defense is piss poor, and teams can do whatever they want against. Justin Herbert ran 5 times for 65 yards. J.K. Dobbins ran 11 times for 56 yards. Gus Edwards had 6 for 27. Yeah, J.K. had that big one at the end. Yeah. Gus Edwards, like I said, had 6 for 27. So that's Justin Herbert 13 a carry. He had that 30-yard run. J.K. Dobbins 5 a carry. Gus Edwards 4.5 a carry. And it's been this the entire season for the Bengals where they just cannot stop anyone on the ground. And I said this would be a game where the Chargers get back to what they were early on in the season in a run-heavy team. But early on in this game, it was all Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert was phenomenal to start this game. He was phenomenal. I think it was 7 for 7, 2 touchdowns, and however many yards he had. He was phenomenal. He had Ladd McConkey looking like the best receiver in the league. He had Will Dissly on a seam route where he hit him for a touchdown. That was a beautiful pass. He has Quentin Johnston looking like an NFL player. It's crazy to see what Justin Herbert is able to do with this ragtag group of guys. Not just and this is a season after him losing Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Imagine what he's going to look like when this offense actually has some viable weapons around him, man. It's so rewarding and so happy to see. I've been going to war for Justin Herbert, and not to see him on a 7-3 team that could actually do something in the playoffs, that's actually looking like they're a competent team. To see what Jim Harbaugh has done over here and instilled in the Chargers, it's really amazing to see. And they talked about the connection that him and Justin Herbert had during the game, him patting Justin Herbert's shoulder pads before the game. And like he said, I don't want to be coaching any other quarterback other than Justin Herbert. And you can just see it. He loves Justin Herbert. The confidence he instills in Justin Herbert, it's ridiculous.
No coach builds their quarterback as much as Jim
I'm not a college guy, but I know he did the same for J.J. McCarthy in Michigan as well. And he did the same for Colin Kaepernick too with the 49ers. So if you're a quarterback, you just love to have a coach like Jim Harbaugh who's going to instill the world into you, tell you you're the greatest quarterback ever. But yeah, that's all I got to say about this game, man. Joe Burrow, I'm so sorry for you. I feel so bad, but man.
The Chargers started off 3-3, and now they're 7-3, and handedly in the playoffs. So it's cool to see that like the world believes it in them. Fix your camera.
What's going on?
I don't want Ben Johnson to leave Detroit, but if he's going to, I want him in Cincinnati.
And
I think him with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase would be magical. Yeah. And before we move on, I love watching Joe Burrow because when he sees something that like he can, like he's playing Madden out there. He literally makes his receivers. He'll just look at.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. Yeah. It's so cool to see because when he'll do it and his face just lights up like, ooh, I'm gonna throw it there. I love Joe Burrow, man. It makes me sad. We can move on.
The Bengals have just done a terrible job by him. Like T. Higgins, this is probably his last season with the Bengals. They had that whole thing in the offseason. He didn't even want to come back. He said he didn't want to play on the franchise tag, but he came back anyway. This is probably his last year with the Bengals. You didn't pay Jamar Chase before the season, and now Jamar Chase is doing this. If the season ended today, he's a Triple Crown winner. So now the amount of money you're going to have to pay Jamar Chase is going to be outrageous. If you thought he was going to be crazy prior to the season, it's going to be even more crazy after this season. And you didn't put a defense around Joe Burrow. It's just it really sucks to see what you've done when you have a stud like you do, and to see him at the podium answering questions, just looking defeated and dejected, man, it really sucks to see. It really sucks to see. But we can move on to Monday Night Football. The Houston Texans beat the Dallas Cowboys 34-10. The Texans move to 7-4. The Cowboys fall to 3-7. Go ahead, man.
I don't want to talk about this game. Cooper Rush stinks, and Joe Mixon plays offense by himself.
Joe Mixon is, bro. I was never a huge Joe Mixon guy. I always thought he was just a whatever running back, but boy, has he shut my ass up. He is phenomenal, man. He has been so good for them. But C.J. Stroud just hasn't looked like C.J. Stroud this season, and I get it. His offensive line isn't the greatest. Micah Parsons was in the backfield a good bit in the early portion of this game. But a CJ Stroud just throws that he's just overthrowing his guys at times, which we didn't see last year. He's just missing his guys, throwing behind his guys. So we're 11 weeks into the season. I hope this isn't the CJ Stroud we're gonna get moving forward. I think he'll get back to that rookie season form and will continue to get better. But it's just kind of weird to see. I guess it's his sophomore slump. It's kind of weird to see where I think everybody kind of anointed the Texans a little too early. They tried to throw the Texans into the AFC Championship game, the Super Bowl, because how good they were last season with their first year with their rookie quarterback. People just tried to push the Texans into this class that they weren't ready yet for. I think maybe in the next couple seasons they'll be there, at the top of the AFC with the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Bills and teams like that. But I think they're just 1 or 2 pegs below as of right now. Because like I said, I think people tried to push them up too early. But yeah, as far as the Cowboys, I don't have anything to say about them. They said they were going to lean on Rico Dowdle. They did. He had 10 carries and he averaged 2.8 yards a carry. He was piss poor. The Cowboys stink. The Texans
I don't have any interest in talking about them for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it was bad.
Unless maybe your homie gets to start.
What's his face? On the fucking Troy Aikman was just fucking sucking Kevontae Turpin's fucking every chance he got to talk about Kevontae Turpin in this game. It felt like he took it. Man, you can't give Kevontae Turpin a chance. He'll take it to the crib on you. Kevontae Turpin scores a touchdown. Well, that's what he does. Him running 22 miles an hour. It felt like every chance he got, he was just fucking drooling at the mouth over Kevontae Turpin. But that's it for our Week 11 review. A pretty solid week of football, I guess you could say.
The New York Giants were on a bye this week.
Yep.
We got news from them today. I would like to rant about them just real quick. If you want to stop me and talk about anything with me, go ahead. Just let me talk for a little bit. Daniel Jones, when he was drafted, he was at the most a 2-star prospect, but going into Duke, he was a 0-star prospect, and their coach told him, we don't have any scholarships for you. You come in, you pay your way to be here your first semester, and then we might have a scholarship for you. And he says okay and does that. Because he got hurt playing basketball his junior year, and he had to earn it back, and he didn't. But so he walks on at Duke, and he's gotten so much in his career because of the Mannings. The coach at Duke was David Cutcliffe, and he had connections with Tennessee, Peyton Manning, and Ole Miss, Eli Manning. And then Eli has vouched for Daniel Jones ever since. The Senior Bowl did wonders for Daniel Jones. And the reason that teams were interested in him, 6th overall is still insane, but the reason teams were interested in him was because he made this Duke offense look okay, and they were god-awful. So the Giants were wanting to see what they could do with him, with an actual somewhat of a team. The Giants in 2018 still started Eli Manning, and Eli Manning it was time to get him out of the door. So in 2019 they had to go a quarterback, and when we talked about it earlier, we both said that you got to know when to sell your team. The 2019 QB draft class. Tell me if you would take any of these guys over Daniel Jones. Kyler Murray went number 1. Absolutely. Daniel Jones went number 6. Dwayne Haskins goes at number 15.
No, I wouldn't.
You're not taking him. Drew Lock went at 42. You're not taking him.
DJ.
Will Grier goes at 100.
DJ. I thought Will Grier was going to be solid for a little bit.
Ryan Finley goes at 104.
DJ.
Your boy Jarrett Stidham goes at 133.
As of right now, I would take Jarrett Stidham, but DJ in the moment, obviously, yeah.
Easton Stick goes at 166.
Yeah, DJ.
Clayton Thorson, I don't even know who that is. Goes at 167.
I think you say Clayton Tune, but no, yeah, DJ.
And then Gardner Minshew goes at 178.
Still DJ.
Trace McSorley goes at 197.
Trace McSorley, but DJ.
Trace McSorley. And then Jake Browning was undrafted.
Mm-hmm.
So the QB draft class in general was just bad.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel Jones shouldn't have gotten all this time. Daniel Jones shouldn't have gotten the contract. But I believed in starting Daniel Jones this season because they weren't trying to win anything.
Mm-hmm.
And if he comes out and looks good, which he did, he came out and he looked good, and we were on here talking about him like, okay, what might they have?
Yeah.
But if he comes out and plays bad, worst case scenario, which is now the real case scenario, you just move on from him and you see what else that you have. And if you're gonna move back to Tommy DeVito, why do you bring in Drew Lock, Hurlins? Why do you give Drew Lock $5 million?
I don't get it. You already saw Tommy DeVito. I don't get why you don't give Drew Lock a chance just to see what he can do in your offense? You saw Tommy DeVito in your offense last season, and you went back to DJ. So what makes you confident in Tommy DeVito?
What the reports claimed was that the determining factor was Drew Lock was hurt in most of the preseason, so they didn't get to see him very much, and they saw success with Tommy DeVito last season. So they go back to Tommy DeVito and move Daniel Jones to number 3. If you're gonna stick with Tommy DeVito, stick with Tommy DeVito. The $5 million that you paid Drew Lock could have gone to anywhere else. And I'm not saying Saquon Barkley because I don't think Saquon wanted to be there anymore.
I think he did. I think he said he wanted to stay, but they just didn't give him the money.
I don't believe him.
Fair.
Because there's reports that they offered him the money and he just declined them.
Fair.
Dove Kleiman at right before the game said there's a growing sense that Brian Daboll these last 7 games is playing for his job, and that's a big reason why he's going back to DeVito. And I could not disagree more. I obviously I'm not an insider, but I think Dave Gettleman is a terrible GM. I think Dave Gettleman's a terrible GM, but he's not ridiculous. And what are they 2-8 for a 2-8 team, as safe as Brian Daboll should be, he should be. And the move is probably to see what they have in somebody on their roster before they go into this offseason and draft somebody like Shadur Sanders, who might not be the best. And like you're drafting Daniel Jones in a weak draft class, you don't need to do it. Just figure out what you have. Get your pieces aligned for an Arch Manning or a Quinn Ewers or someone like that.
The Giants are a team, like we mentioned it earlier, where it's like you go get a Sam Darnold type of guy, you go get that type of guy because you have the defense, you have that defensive line has studs, you have a weapon in Malik Neighbors. You go get a guy like Sam Darnold.
I was so happy when they got Drew Lock,
and then you just see what you have. If he gives you a good season, well, you can give him another year and see what he can do in your offense. If he doesn't give you a bad season, you go and draft your quarterback in the following draft. So this is definitely a situation where I would be looking at them to go get like a guy like Jameis Winston, a Sam Darnold, and just give them that 1-year deal and just to see what they can do.
They did. They have Drew Lock.
And it's funny you say DJ made his name off of that one bowl game in college. It's the same. He did the same thing in the NFL. That one playoff game against the Vikings got him that bag. If he doesn't win that game and upset the Vikings in the playoffs, he's probably not the Giants quarterback today. But he got that money, so they had to play him. But yeah.
And on Thanksgiving Day, we are going to be sitting around with the family,
I'll be
watching Cooper Rush versus Tommy DeVito.
Yeah.
Do you know how embarrassing that is for the NFL product?
Yeah. And they're not gonna flex it because you're not flexing the Cowboys out of a Thanksgiving game. So yeah. Ugh. Yeah, I will definitely
move
be happy.
on. Last thing before we get out of here, as usual, our review episodes. I have my quarterback rankings. These quarterback rankings are nothing to do with who you are. It's solely based on how you've played this season, the entirety of the season, and they fluctuate pretty easily, so a week can matter. At number 10, first time appearance over there in Pittsburgh, I got Russell Wilson.
Okay. I don't hate that. I'm surprised to see him on the list, to be honest. But I don't hate that. I kind of got to see. I always say with number 10, I got to see what's going on above him. But for now, that's fine.
The two he jumped were Kirk Cousins and Brock Purdy.
I don't think Brock Purdy should have fell off the list. I think, what was Brock Purdy last week? Number 7 or 8?
He was 7.
I don't think, if you look at the box score, it looks like Brock Purdy had a bad game. But I really don't think Brock Purdy had a bad game on Sunday. Like I said, I think this Sunday's game was really all on Kyle Shanahan, but I don't think...
Are you taking Brock Purdy over Russell Wilson this season?
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Absolutely, because I don't even think Russ played well this past Sunday either. And the game before, I don't think he played well either. But I don't, like I said, it's your list. I'm not upset at it, but I don't think I would have moved Brock off the list.
Number 9.
I don't think I would have moved Kirk Cousins off the list for Russell Wilson.
Kirk was terrible. He was,
but okay, it's week to week. But overall in the season, I would definitely still take Kirk Cousins over Russell Wilson, I think Russ is one, but Russ hasn't
Kirk isn't
been
over
phenomenal.
Brock, though.
Oh, no, not over Brock. When I said I would still take Kirk, I would take Kirk over Russ. I think I would take both of those quarterbacks over Russ.
but we're not. At number 9, we got, and it is crazy because I didn't even really give a damn about him before the season started, and he quickly became one of my favorite quarterbacks in football. Once again, we got Kyler Murray.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's on a bye, so.
Yeah.
Number 8, coming back into the list, we have your guy, Justin Herbert.
Man, Justin Herbert by the end of the season should be no lower than top 5 in this list if he continues this play that he's playing right now. Justin Herbert is balling. In the beginning of the season, he was still playing well, but the numbers weren't showing it because they were really a run-heavy team. They didn't need him. They weren't using him.
And then he had that one really bad game against the Chiefs.
He was hurt. He was limping. He shouldn't have been playing, to be honest. And then Greg Roman said, you know what, we're going to start playing around Justin. You're going to start seeing those numbers from Justin, and we've seen it. Justin Herbert has been playing his ass off. He's been phenomenal. So I'm happy to see. I love Justin Herbert so much. Like, so much, man. He's my favorite quarterback, bro. I love him.
Tangent, just 1 second. I doubt you saw it. We got a YouTube short comment a couple hours before we clicked
Justin
record.
Herbert, I saw it.
Did he really just say Justin Herbert to go?
Yeah, I saw it.
Number 7, Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, I think that's fine. He hasn't been great this season, but we know who Patrick Mahomes is. He's still the best quarterback in the league, but he hasn't been great this season.
Number 6, Baker Mayfield.
That's fine. Didn't play this week, but Baker has done his thing with his weapons, and once Mike Evans comes back, I think that Tampa Bay offense will look right back to where it was. Probably not as great because you don't have Chris Godwin, but I think Baker will have them still looking pretty decent. So I like it.
And I didn't want to punish him for not playing. He was 5 last week, but number 5, Jared Goff.
Yep. You know, a lot of people got in his ass because of the 5 interception game, and then he didn't need to, like, the Lions were winning without him needing to do much of anything. But he comes out and has 4 touchdowns this past Sunday. The Lions steamroll. I think it's the case where, they may not need Jared Goff to win games, but when they do need him, he will provide for them. But they just don't need him every week.
Number 4, he's a bit lucky that there's not really a bunch of competition at the moment. If he keeps playing like he is, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert could both jump him. Mm-hmm. We got Jaden Daniels.
And that's why I brought the overreaction of Bo Nix, because Jaden Daniels hasn't been playing very well the past couple of weeks. And they're going the opposite. Jaden's trending downwards while Bo is shooting upwards. So that's why I kind of brought the overreaction about Bo Nix stealing Rookie of the Year. But no, I think Jaden's going to be fine. 4 is still a fine place for him. The quarterbacks above him are balling out, so I'm not mad at for Jaden.
People were speculating that he was playing injured, which is rightfully so. He's been much worse since he got hurt. And Dan Quinn came out today and said that he's not hurt. He's completely fine. They just need to scheme the game plan back for him.
Exactly. I think that's what it is. I think they're trying to protect him now. Maybe if he's not hurt, they're just trying to protect him from getting hurt again. When I think you just have to, it's football. Things are going to happen. So if he gets hurt, you obviously don't want it to happen, but I don't think you can sit back and sit on your hand and say, we're not going to run him. We're not going to use him as a runner, as a playmaker, because we don't want him to get hurt again.
And number 3, he took down the Gladiators. We got Josh Allen.
Absolutely. He should be no lower than 3, and that's where you have him. Josh Allen played his ass off again. He's having a phenomenal season. He was my MVP pick to begin the season. It's probably not going to happen, but he's playing like an MVP.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, no, it was Joe Burrow. He was my number 2. Yeah, you're right. Am I also playing like an MVP, but his team stinks? But yeah, no, I love
Speaking of,
I love Josh Allen here.
Joe Burrow's at 2. And Lamar's at 1. It's been the same for...
Give it a week or two, Joe Burrow might have to move into 1. Because like I said, Lamar Jackson is the MVP because he's playing phenomenal and his team has the success. But like I said, if Joe Burrow's team was over 500, I think he would be the runaway MVP. I don't think it would be close. Because Joe Burrow can literally do no wrong right now, but his team just fucking hates him. Just hates him. But I think
I'm biased towards Lamar, but I'm also biased towards Joe Burrow. So if he deserves it, I would put him there.
But that's all I got before we get out of here, let's not forget, we got to talk about Thursday Night Football. There's probably not much to say here. I'm sure. My gosh, I got us. It's Steelers Browns this Thursday. There's not much to say here. I'm sure we're both taking the Steelers.
Jameis Winston. Oh,
are you actually taking the Browns?
No.
So we're both taking the Steelers here. There isn't much to say here. The Steelers should run away with this game and mollywop the Browns. So Dark, there you go. We didn't forget Thursday Night Football, but if you
Give
guys
me Jameis or give me Najee Harris for 120.
okay, if you guys enjoyed the episode of recording this late as hell, it's 2:24 right now. Drop a like, sub, comment, do all that. Head over to the TikTok if you haven't already. Show some love over there. And we also dropped the YouTube short. So if you show some love on the TikTok, also don't forget the shorts because you're already here on YouTube watching this. So you may as well just like the shorts and show some love there. Share it with a friend. We're 2 away from 60. Get us to 60 by whenever. Who knows when. We'll see you guys on...
We dropped 2 Odd Man Out short exclusives, so if you're interested, go ahead and watch those. The one took Herlin is literally 10 minutes to figure it out, and it's only a minute video, so you don't see the whole thing. But just know the quarterback one took him at 10 minutes. Love y'all.
We'll see you guys on Friday. Peace.